A very warm welcome to our panel, which is our Power Panel 2, Women in Mobility, Breaking Barriers and Beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our session. And we at FADA have introduced this initiative, Women in FADA, to really encourage more women to come forward in this sector. And hence this session is dedicated to women. So please welcome our eminent speakers. May I invite Ms. Garima Avtar, Extreme Rally Driver. Ms. Pamela Tikku, Chief Business Officer, ICAT. Ms. Garima Mishra, Chairperson FADA Delhi and Chairperson FADA WIF. And our session moderator, Ms. Swati Khandelwal, Executive Editor, Z Business. We also have Mr. Nikun Sangi also joining us for the session.
Hello. Hello. Just check your mics once so that we know we are all fine. Hello. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. I think when Federation of Automobile Dealers Association reached out to me and said that, we are doing something for the first time, as I'm told, women in automobile or mobility. This space, we all know, not many women participate, for whatever reasons it may be. But I think the increasing trends are showing that there is that much desire, there's that much need for women to, I think, come up and participate in the ways that they should. And some of these panelists that you see here are actually doing that. I think it'll be interesting to understand their journey, their story, and maybe take some cues, pick up what they thought were challenges, maybe you can relate with your stories, and then, look at opportunities beyond. So let's kickstart this conversation with Garima, because I think the enthusiasm that she brings with and so we have two Garimas, so let me, the immediate left. She is an avid motorcyclist, and she's a racer, and she loves bikes more than, and cars as well. Where did this passion, when did it start? How has she kept it alive, and how has she managed so far, and what are her plans now going beyond this? So I think it'll be interesting to understand first from each of them their story. So Garima, let's start with you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Swati, and it's a great honor to be present here. Okay, to start, to tell about my journey. So we talk about unintended consequences. We never imagined that sometimes we don't know that, we're going to get into this. So I never, back then when my dad was teaching me how to drive a car when I was a little girl, neither he, nor I ever imagined that I'll get into motorsports, or this option was ever available. But, cutting it short, I got into rallying just by chance. But I remember when I was getting into this sport, there was, my friends and family, nobody from my friends or family is remotely associated with motorsports. And they advised me against it because they thought, I'll get disappointed because motorsport is risky, it is tough, and it not just requires physical and mental tenacity, but it also requires a huge financial support. And I remember, definitely motorsport is also dominated by men. So, so there were a lot of apprehensions and doubts, and there were hardly any mentors, and it was completely uncharted territory for me. But one thing was that I was extremely determined. And that's how my journey started, and there's no, looking back.
So determination is the key to success, as they say. And clearly we are seeing what you've done and achieved so far. Very proud to say amongst so many men, we have a woman who's so passionate and driven.
Thank you.
Pamela, let me come to you and understand from your perspective, so many number of years that you've spent in this space, in automotive. How do you see the role of women evolve over a period of time? You can give your professional examples on how you've seen how the acceptance for more women in workplace is growing or should grow.
Thank you, Swati. I would just like to say that the journey has been very interesting. From when I started, I did my mechanical engineering from REC Jaipur, and we had campus interviews, and there were companies like Reliance and Bharat Petroleum who came over for campus recruitment. But being the only female in the class, and in fact I was the only female in the department, I was not taken on a campus. So when I asked, I approached Reliance. I said, why are you not taking my application? At least give me a chance to, present myself. They said, no, there are logistic issues. We don't have hostels. The placement is in Patal Ganga, etc., etc. So I couldn't get campus placement. So that was a disappointment. Then my father wanted me to get married, and he said, wherever your husband is, then you find a job there. You don't have to work till that time, because then it will be an issue for me to find a husband for you, and you will not move from your job. So then I got married and I came to Delhi. And finding a job was difficult. I somehow wanted to get into auto industry, because that time Maruti had come, Hero, Honda was there, and it was very exciting to be part of this particular industry. Then I approached many of the auto companies. It was Maruti, it was Hero, Honda, but everywhere it was said that we don't take female engineers. It was a disappointment. Then one of my friends, through one of the contacts, helped me get into one of the auto component industry, which is called Rico Auto. And I was the first engineer who was hired in Rico Auto. There were people who were working, but they were diploma holders and all that. So my boss told me that we will take you on board, but you'll have to work in factory in all departments. And if you sustain 1 month, then we'll take you. Sure. So I said, okay. Our only challenge is that the factory was in Daruheda, and it was not easily connected with Delhi. So through that time, Hero Honda had a factory in Daruheda, and he was a supplier to Hero Honda. And he called up Hero Honda. He said that we have one engineer who will be traveling. They had one small tempo traveler going from Basant Vihar till Daruheda, and there were some general managers traveling in that. So I was given this opportunity to travel with them. So there were a bus full of 15 men, and I was one girl who was young, and I was traveling all the way to Daruheda. And believe me, right from Ifko Chowk till Daruheda, I think there was Sona Steering, there was Sunbeam, and there was Perfetti, then there was Hero Honda. So it was a very not so well populated. I had to work on aluminium die casting shop, I had to work in fitting shop, I had to work in quality shop. And he felt that I was not shying away from my responsibility. And then I was taken on board. So much so that he gave me a lot of responsibilities, and Maruti was one of my big customers. I was into vendor marketing. So I had to travel from Nehru Place, and Maruti was in Gurgaon. Yeah. And I had to travel, and he was kind enough to give me a car to travel from Nehru Place to Maruti. And I used to enter the vendor development of Maruti. So VD1, VD2, VD3 was a big hall, and there was a hall full of men, and I used to walk in, and then everybody used to look at me, and I used to go and attend to my managers there and sit with them. And they used to feel so uncomfortable because they had no arrangements
it's not women conducive in that sense, yeah. They set up.
So it has, but I was never afraid of taking any responsibility. Okay. So
sure.
I managed it. I think Dr. Goenka has been one of my mentors from SIAM when I joined, and he knows that we used to have a room full of R&D heads, full of men, and it was through him that the first emission roadmap of the India was rolled out under his guidance. That was a project that he gave me. Another challenging task that both Dr. Goenka and Dr. Sumantran gave me, to develop a roadmap for test facilities in the India. Wonderful. So this NATRE project which has come up was under their guidance. Similar initiatives, whatever I was given, I never shied away.
Absolutely.
At the same time, it was at every moment of my life I had to prove that I am, if not better, I am equally good.
Fantastic. But
So that happened because I had good people around me. I had good mentors around me who allowed me to work in that. So that was, professional front. And home front also, it would not have been possible had I had not a good support of my family, my husband,
Absolutely.
my parents. So when I had children, so whom to take care of my children. So my in-laws and my parents, they took care of my
Stepped
children.
in.
I could, focus on my career along with my family front. So it is important that you have a very good support circle, you have a very good trust circle, and then women can flourish in any fields. I don't think there is any occupation where women cannot excel today.
I can't agree more with you on this, and I think the support system is indeed the magic recipe, as they call it, for you to succeed. All of us will, absolutely endorse that. Garima, I want to know from you, because, we talk of, again, a setup where there are less women. You represent the dealerships. We've not seen far too many women handling dealerships. For whatever reasons, there's always, they're not considered. I don't know if there's a capability issue, but what's the mindset block here? And how are we changing that? Are we seeing any changes on ground in terms of people now looking at women? Because, we all know and acknowledge that they can be great managers. So why not? What is the hesitance that we see?
So, firstly, apologies for an extremely bad throat. I'll still try to be as clear as I can. I personally feel that the first and foremost limiting factor for a woman is her own inhibition. Honestly, there is nothing more than that. I have been into this business for 25 years, and I have done a couple of other businesses as well, whether it's media and advertising, whether it's travel. None of the businesses told me that you're a woman, you can't do this, or you're a woman, you can do this better. It was me, my own mind. Many a times, I was the only woman in a dealer conference. So many times, the manufacturers have addressed the conference as gentlemen and Garima. I never felt odd. I don't know about the men who were sitting next to me. If they felt odd, you can answer for yourself. But I never thought of that. I never thought of a gender. I was sitting there as a business person, not a businessman or a businesswoman, just a business person. I was there for a job. I was there to do my thing, and that was it. The success of my business was the only thing that was important to me. And we all have issues, okay? I will tell you, it was the launch of my first dealership, Honda dealership in Ahmedabad. At that time, my daughter was only 1.5. There was no family. We are from Delhi. Myself and my husband were the only people in Ahmedabad at that time. I had no parents, nobody. My daughter had a stomach bug, a very bad stomach bug, and I had a dealership inauguration to do. I called upon my neighbor. I called on her and I requested her if she could take care of my daughter. And she warmly did. So the thing is that if you ask for help, it will be available. Don't be hesitant in asking for help. Everybody needs help. Doesn't the man who's working at the office need help? He also does, no? He has someone who's cooking his food. He has someone who's taking care of his daughter, his child, his mother. So it's really complementary. It's about us. It's about us accepting our own businesses as our babies as well. And the minute we learn to do that, I think there's no looking back at all. We can do as well. There is no male-dominated industry. There is no woman-dominated industry. It's all in the head.
Absolutely. I think it's all in the head, and all of us have stories where we've, managed, and I think where there's a will, there's a way, and I truly believe it. You will find a way to handle that situation at that point in time, and I think you'll have to keep balancing this. Neither of the places that you can always say, oh, I will only follow the career, or I'll only follow my personal life. It is always, the situation will merit for itself. Sir, I would like your views now, having seen this industry very closely, and we are talking specifically in the automotive space, the strengths that you think women bring on the table, and according to you, the opportunities that we've missed bringing them on board. You've seen this industry, represented it. Why the need today that we are discussing this? Why not 10 years ago?
So I'm happy that we're discussing it today. I think, like you rightly said, that we should have discussed it 10 years ago or probably even 20 years ago. And I really feel it's all in the mind because I'm running a dealership in a tier 2 town. So when the dealership I started was actually in a tier 4 town. And I decided that I'll have women in my dealership then. I have about more than 30% of my workforce is women. They have done much, much better than men. And it was all about breaking the mindset. So I got a lady to be my GM service. And she was among the top 3 GM services for Mahindras anywhere in the country, where people felt that Mahindra's, the customer profile, will a girl be able to handle that customer profile? So she did it much better than any man could do. And she would call up Mahindras directly without my intervention and perform. So I think it's all in the mind that women cannot. And I definitely feel that women have a very rightful space, probably a bigger space than men in the automotive industry. And if they're involved in it, the industry will only do better.
Okay, sure. And you, as you said, and we really are happy that you have 30% of your workforce that represents women. So clearly, there is more scope, as Mrs. Sanghi just talked about. Quickly want to take one round of final, question to understand and really come to a point where when you meet women and women who want to join this industry, what is the one message that you would like to give them to prep them of what is going to unfold? And it's more a life lesson, I would say. But I think in terms of the career, the challenges that come along, how do you best handle it? I know it's easier said than done. Well, I can always say it's in the mind, we can do it. But, situations could be tricky. And many of us give up at times. We're not always very, very strong. So what is it that you will tell, and each of you, from your own experiences and journey, women who find it difficult, who feel low, who think they can't manage it, how did you do it so they can possibly pick it up from there? So, Garima.
So, for me, I would like to say that, there is no age to start anything. So, I was in my 30s, actually, when I got into rallying. So, when you're in your 30s, in sports generally, I mean, you end up, you are retiring and basically...
Usually at the end of the cycle of your career.
Yeah, champions are made very early on in their lives. And here I was in my 30s, I started rallying at that age. So I'm a real life example of like, if you have strong will, you have dedication and self-belief, then anything is possible.
Okay, sure. So age is not a obstacle here. She's proven it and done it. Pamela?
I think कहीं ना कहीं हर फीमेल के मन में एक इच्छा ज़रूर होती है कि वो ये कर सकती है, ठीक है? That apprehension, वो जो belief है अपने में, वो that doesn't come out so easily. I think women should listen to their hearts. They should find out what their passion is, If they are passionate about any profession, they will definitely excel in it. And one should not be afraid of, what others will think, and they should not feel that, I'm in a comfortable zone. So why should I bother? Let me tell you, there are situations when women had to handle businesses, women had to handle their households of one or the other eventualities, which I don't want to mention at this moment. So you should be ready to handle your own areas, your own business. Who else can handle a business better than you, because you own that, and then you have better connect to it, better higher stakes in it. So it's better to be part and parcel of the business or the profession that you are involved in, or your relations is involved in. So get involved in it, whatever way, smaller way, bigger way, and what will happen? What worse can happen?
Yeah.
You may not be able to perform a job 100% correct, but you will be able to perform a job 50% correctly. So what? So let's not get bogged down that I need to be perfect right from day one. Perfection never comes from day one. It is slowly built up. So let's get into it. Let's see how we perform, learn from failures, and do good. That's what I can tell. Thank you.
Okay, fair enough. Garima?
I completely agree with what Pamela said. I think we all, mostly women, वो सारी दुनिया का भार उठाने का शौक है हमको. You know, we want to be responsible, we want to be the best bahu and the best mother and the best wife. This whole thing about being wanting to be the best really needs to change. It's okay. We have to learn to live for ourselves. It's okay if you miss one PTM. Think, delegate. Another thing that I've realized with women is delegation doesn't come very easily to them. They should learn to delegate. Ask yourself, can someone else do this? Can my mother go for that PTM? Or can someone else do that particular job? Can my sister-in-law take my mother-in-law to the hospital? Do it. Ask for help. It's okay. It will not make you bad. It's fine. So that is what we need to do. Take your priorities. Make yourself a priority first for yourself. And you will realize that you will not be compromising. You will still be a great mom. You still will be a great wife, along with being a great businesswoman.
Okay, wonderful. Absolutely. Nikunj, your golden words.
So I guess when I started employing girls or women in my dealership, people always said that, Nikunja, are you looking at stability? They'll get married and then they'll leave their jobs. But what I realized very soon that one, they were more stable than men were because they were looking for more jobs than the women did. And two, the time that they gave in the dealership, their contribution was much, much higher than any man could ever do in that period of time. And I think that was doing much more than not having them for a long-term period. And I think when it came to how the dealership performed, we have been amongst the best performing dealerships for all our OEMs. And I think a lot of credit for that goes to the women who were part of my team.
Wonderful. So there is live examples that we've heard from these lovely women who've made it happen, who've broken the barriers and are continuing to move forward. Congratulations on the women bit that you've started from this year, I'm told. And I hope that this grows from strength to strength. Thank you so much for being a lovely audience. Thank you, guys. Thank you.